people, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a one brand review over a brand that's been requested a lot on my channel to check out, and that is CYO. So CYO is a brand that just recently came to Walgreens. I mainly just picked up face stuff. There is one eye product in here. I'm really at a place where I don't need or want any more brow pencils or mascaras or eyeshadow palettes. I have tons of those things, so they just didn't really interest me, and I'm trying to really dwindle my collection down to where I can use some stuff up and really focus on what I love, so I just didn't want to accumulate way too much. So the first thing I have is the Lifeproof Long Lasting Foundation. So this is the one that everyone was recommending to me and saying how long wearing it was. So this is $7, and you can find this on their CYO website. You can place orders on their website directly, or you can pick it up at Walgreens, so I will have both links below. So it says long lasting, creamy, lightweight foundation, smudge and transfer free, leaves the skin looking fresh and flawless without the cakey feel, 15 shades, buildable, comfortable to wear, and it has vitamin E, which is known to nourish and moisturize the skin. I got the shade 103. There's not really a description for each shade, but this one looks like it has like a more neutral slash warmish undertone to it, so it looks like it will be a pretty good match. And it also says it's supposed to give you a natural finish and full coverage. So I do have oily skin, acne prone skin. I don't really have a whole lot to cover up right now. I just have a little bit of unevenness, and I do look for full coverage, so I'm excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these bad boys out. Here's what the shade and the consistency looks like. So it's not too thick, and it definitely has more of like a neutral undertone to it, which I do like. Let's see. Oh, I've already moisturized and primed my skin. I forgot to mention that. Here's what it looks like on the first layer. It blended out really nicely. I still have some product left over on the back of my hand. Not really a whole lot, but the coverage is really, really pretty. It's more of like a higher medium coverage, but again, I don't have a lot to cover up, so it's kind of hard to say if this is gonna be buildable to full. I'm gonna go ahead and do the building test. In case you don't know, I always like to build up a foundation to see if it gets cakey, if it looks thick, heavy, if you can get full coverage out of it. I just like to really test the waters with every aspect of a foundation. I'm really surprised at how natural this looks. It really just perfects your skin, and it's not looking heavy or cakey or anything. And where it's called a Lifeproof foundation, I would think that it would be a really thick, kind of heavy feeling foundation, because that's what most of them are, especially the ones that are full coverage. But it's feeling really lightweight. It's blending out really nicely. It's just melting into my skin, and it's not emphasizing my pores or texture or anything. Okay, so there's second layer, and it didn't get to a super full coverage. I mean, I didn't really try super hard to get it, you know, really full coverage. I usually like to get really full coverage right through here, because that's where my unevenness and my leftover acne spots are, but it still looks really good. So what I think I'm gonna do is kind of let these layers dry and then go back in and try to build it up, just because I feel like sometimes when you let the first layer dry, it just seems to build up a little bit better. It seems like the second layer just adheres better to the first layer when you let it dry. I do want to go ahead and give you the time, because this is going to be a wear test video. So right now it is 1:43. So I guess let's move up to the eyes. I have one eye product, and that's an eyeliner. So this is the Setting Our Sights Kohl Gel Liner. I got the shade black, and I don't know if this is retractable. Okay, it looks like it's retractable because it's got a little twist at the bottom, but I don't see it moving up either. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be the most jet black, but it is pretty pigmented. It looks like it's definitely more of a buildable black. This is $3.50, so very, very inexpensive. If you're wondering what's on my eyes, by the way, this is the Bling Boss palette from Jaclyn Hill. All right, so definitely not the most intensely pigmented and rich colored eyeliner that I've used. It wasn't super creamy. It glided on, but it still wasn't the most creamy form that I've used. But that might be a good thing for the lower lash line or the waterline. So I do want to put this in my waterline as well, but I'm going to wait until I finish up my under eye area and have powder and stuff on. Let's see. Let's go back to the foundation and try to build up a little bit more just right through here. And as far as how it's set, it definitely did set to be more of like a natural matte finish, but it isn't transfer resistant right now. So at this point, it's definitely something that I would recommend setting, especially if you have oily skin. If you have dry skin, you may be able to get away with it. Okay. Yeah, definitely better coverage. A little bit does go a long way with the formula, and this is a full coverage for me. Now, I will say again that if you have acne and you want to cover up a lot of blemishes and stuff, I don't know how well it would cover. I'm gonna go on into concealer now, and I don't have a concealer from the brand. I wasn't really intrigued by what they were offering, and plus most of the products at the store that I went to were already swatched. Like there's one product that was swatched, and I just decided to pick it up anyway, because it wasn't too badly damaged, and I figured I would just wipe off the top surface. So yeah, I do have a setting powder, and again, I don't need any more setting powders. I have so many, but I was trying to get to the even 6 number when I was buying stuff, just so I could get, you know, the third product free. So this was highly rated on the Walgreens website. This is the All Set Fixing Powder. This is $5, and this kind of has like a peachy tone to it. You see a little bit of that peachy undertone? So hopefully it brightens. Yeah, this is setting my skin pretty nicely, but I will say I feel like setting powders aren't really special. I feel like they're pretty much all the same. Either they help your makeup last longer or they don't. Either they make you look cakey or they don't. So it does feel very, very thin, super finely milled, and it almost blends away to nothing between my fingers when I'm swatching it. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back to that swatch from that eyeliner on my hand here. I just want to see how smudge proof it is. So I'm kind of rubbing over it a little bit, and it is losing intensity, but it's not really smearing out and like feathering. So let's go a little bit harder. Okay, now we're getting a little bit of that black shadow around it. I do want to put this in my waterline and really pay attention to how it wears down there, because for me it's really hard to find eyeliners to wear in my waterline that stay put. But maybe where this is kind of a drier formula and it's not super creamy, it will hold up. So again, not super rich in pigment. So it is 2:06 right now. We'll say 2 o'clock, around 2 o'clock for check-in time with the liner and the waterline, just because I feel like that's something that people look for. So moving on to bronzer. So this is the When the Sun Don't Shine bronzing powder. I got the shade Fair. They had 2 shades at Walgreens, but they only have one. They have medium on the CYO website. I don't see Fair at all, so I don't really know what that's about, but this is $5, so pretty good deal. And this is just a matte bronzer, and it has a really pretty tone to it. It just looks very soft and just very, like, it's not too orange, it's not too red, it just looks like a really good neutral bronzer. It's not super pigmented, and when it comes to cheek products especially, I'm okay with a more buildable formula, so that's what I'm kind of feeling like this will be. So let's just go ahead and bronze up the face. So this is definitely more of a dry formula. It's not super creamy or anything, and I feel like it is pretty sheer. And like I said, I am okay with a more buildable formula so that it doesn't start off too intense and you have to get rid of pigmentation, you know, too much intensity. But I almost feel like this was almost too little pigmentation. I do feel like this would definitely be a lot better for people with really fair skin, like really porcelain skin tones. But this is okay. It's not blowing my mind. I'm just not wowed by that one. So moving on to blush. So they did have cream blushes and then powder blushes, and I kind of wanted to check out the cream blushes, but the ones that I liked, like the shades that I liked, were all touched, and I just didn't want to mess with that. So I got a powder blush. This is the Crush On powder blush, and I got the shade Controversial. This is $4, so very affordable. So this is more of like a neon peach in a way. I hope that this is more of a sheer buildable formula so that it doesn't look that intense in the pan. You can just build it up depending on what kind of look you're going for and also what skin tone you are. But it looks matte to me, and when I swatch it, it looks like it can be sheared out and blended away. So yeah, definitely not scary. Definitely starts off more sheer, so that's a really good thing. And again, this isn't a super creamy, buttery formula to where it just looks, you know, luminous and glowy on your skin, which, you know, not all products have to. I just like a more glowy cheek product to where it just makes me look like I've drank a lot of water. So now I have a highlighter. So this is the Shimmer Switch Bronzing and Highlighting Palette. They have 2 shades, In the Clouds and Lost in Space. This is Lost in Space. This is a more warm tone one. The other one, In the Clouds, is more like a pink tone, and I don't really like pink tone highlighters. This is $5, and you have 4 little strips in here. So it's kind of like the Bobbi Brown Shimmer strips, like the Physicians Formula ones. So there are the 4 shades individually. And again, they seem kind of dry, but hopefully they give me a really pretty glow. So there's what they look like. That top one, the very top strip, looks like it's the most glowy and dewy. So let's try mixing them all together first, but focusing my brush in the top strips right there. Okay, not really giving me a whole lot of glow. This is very natural. I feel like I see it more on camera, like when the lights are directed on me, than in real life. Like in real life, it just looks, I don't know, like you can see the frostiness of it. I'm gonna go in with just those 2 top strips and maybe a little bit of that middle one right there, like the third one that's kind of more bronzy. Definitely a dry formula. Once again, that seems to be the going thing. I could definitely see this being one that would emphasize pores and texture and stuff like that. Let's focus a little more on like the third strip right here. That's a little more coppery and warm, and then that top one, just because I feel like this is looking a little bit too white for me. Doesn't look horrible. It's not a bad formula. It's just not as creamy as a lot of my other ones. So I'm gonna do my little highlighter trick. I'm gonna go ahead and spray my face with a setting spray. While the setting spray is still drying, while it's still tacky, I'm gonna go in and apply it wet on this side just to see if it looks better, because I found that with a lot of products that are a little bit too dry and they don't really give me the glow that I'm looking for, they look a lot better when the skin is more damp. It's actually not looking too much different. It just looks not very precise. Like, I just feel like the entire area looks way too frosty, even though I put it in a specific area. So I'm not too impressed with what I'm seeing right now. The foundation is really the only thing that has caught my eye. It's not miraculous. Like, I thought I would be a lot more wowed by it than what I am. But my skin just looks flat. Like, it just looks like there's no sheen, there's no luminosity or anything other than that little frosty strip of crap right there. But that's all I have to show you guys. I'm gonna go off camera and do the rest of my face, and I'll come back at the end of the night. Alrighty guys, it is time to bring this one brand review to a close. It is now 9:07, so we are almost up to 8 hours, but just a little past the 7.5 hour mark. So I wanted to make it to 8 or more. That's what I usually try to do, but I'm just ready to call it a night. I'm ready to toss my contacts out into the garbage and take my makeup off and go work out. So as you can see, we do have a little bit of glow going on. And I feel like the highlighter does look a lot better, by the way. Like, it looks so much better than it did before. So as far as the eyeliner goes, it actually did hold up pretty well. Here's the thing, it wasn't super pigmented right off the bat, so it's not like there's a whole lot of intensity to be had still. With what little intensity we had, it definitely stayed put. So I feel like the liner is pretty long wearing. It didn't irritate my contacts or anything, but just because we don't have that intensity, this is probably a pass for me. It just wasn't creamy enough. I just want more pigmentation than this. As far as the foundation, let's just go ahead and talk about that real quick. We do have some glow and some luminosity, as you can see, but I feel like it's a really pretty glow. Like, I don't feel like we're at that point of looking super oily yet. And usually, I forgot to mention this, I do have oily skin, but usually I don't get greasy or shiny throughout the day. So a lot of the glow is really coming from the highlighter. Yeah, as far as the foundation goes, it held up really well. I don't really see any kind of fading or anything. And the coverage is still there. It's not settled into pores or fine lines or anything. The highlighter, I think we've kind of decided this just isn't for me. I have so many other highlighters in my collection that work so much better than this. The bronzer and the blush, I'm just gonna kind of pair them together just because these aren't my favorite and I have a lot better in my collection. As far as the setting powder goes, I mean, my makeup held up pretty well today, so that could be in part because of the setting powder. I don't really know. It didn't outperform anything else in my collection, but like I said, there were reviews on the Walgreens website where people with oily skin were saying that it really helped their oil and it kept them mattified all day long. So if you have oily skin, might be a gem. I don't know. But overall, I did expect a little bit more from this brand. I expected to be just completely mind blown, but I do have pretty high standards. The bar is set pretty high just from what I've tried and what's in my collection right now. There's not a lot that really, like, excites me anymore. So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and when you do that, comment below #partypeople to let me know that you're part of my Party People squad, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah.